people always come to stay with my family, and it wasn't just international students. Before international students, it was family, and after international students, it's still going to be family who comes to stay with us. If you don't have a place to go and you're related to us, you're probably going to end up wherever my mom is. It's just a thing. I've lived with my aunts who aren't actually my aunt. Does anyone else's family do that where, you have people who are called aunt and uncle, but they're not actually, they're like a cousin, like twice removed or something? I have a lot of those. So I've lived with my aunts who aren't really my aunts. I've lived with my uncle who isn't really my uncle. I've lived with one of my cousins, and I've lived with my grandpa. Out of all those people, you think it would just be the grandpa, but not in this family. Like I said, if you don't have a place to go, you wind up here with us.
When someone meets my family, they inevitably ask, "How are you, you?" Why is that, you ask? Have I got a story for you?
Now, there's a reason why our house is called Hotel Yessie. Whoever you are, whatever. And barring my uncle who's not really my uncle and my cousin, pretty much everyone who stays with us is sick in some way. And so that leads to a lot of problem. Like my two aunts that lived with us, one of them died, but God rest her soul. Also, like when I say my aunt, she's actually would actually be my cousin twice removed because she's my grandfather's cousin. They both are. Maybe they're my grandmother's cousins. Whatever. But I know they're that generation's cousins when they stayed with us. The older sister in that family, oh God, she had a lot of issues going on, and like we had a home health aide for a while and what have you, which is funny when you think about it, because I mean her sister was here. Her sister still pretty much takes care of herself to this day. And like me and well, we weren't gonna the things a home health aide does, man, all the kudos to them, all the props. But my aunts lived with us. We had a lot of fun times, and by fun times I mean terrible times. There's just one story that my mom insists doesn't never happened, but no, it happened. I assure you, it happened. So this one time, like my aunt was really sick at the time, but it wasn't like she was like vomiting blood or anything. It wasn't like me when I was sick. It was, she was old and she didn't have proper control of her body. That kind of sickness. And the older aunt of the two, she smelled really bad quite often. And one time, uh, she walked from the living room. Well, more like shuffled because she didn't really walk anymore. Just shuffled. I always wonder, like, if old people wear slippers and they don't walk anymore and they shuffle, don't they make a lot of static electricity? Like, can't they like stick out their finger and shock you? But I digress. So she's shuffling out of the living room into the hallway in our old house, and she smelled so bad that she set off the smoke alarm. Like, can you imagine what's caked on you to make you smell like that? Like, it's gross. I hope I, as weird as it is to say, I hope I never get to that level ever. And the thing is, she was sleeping in my bed. So, like, I didn't sleep in my bed for years because it smelled terrible. Even when she was gone, like, for months after, it would still smell terrible. I was like, nope, I'll sleep anywhere else. Don't give a shit. Nope, ain't gonna happen. I mean, I do give shits, but my shit goes in the toilet. Speaking of shit, let's go back to shit jokes because, yay! So this one time, when my aunts were living with us, and my uncle was living with us still, those aunts are his actual aunts, I believe. No. Family-wise, one of the aunts was his mother. Bam! Got it. So, yeah, he's closer to being a cousin, but still one generation removed. So anyway, staying with us. My one aunt still took care of herself. Was in the room. Older aunt in the room. She's like, I could go to the bathroom. And my other aunt and uncle are like, all right, go. And she gets up and she's shuffling as fast as she can possibly go. And it's like a cartoon, when somebody shuffles their feet really fast, like, and and like their legs are moving really, really fast, but they're not actually going anywhere. Like she was shuffling as fast as humanly possible. Her feet going by. She had moved like 3 feet, and then it started, and it's just like. And you'd think she would go faster because she'd be like propelled by gas, but no, didn't actually go any faster. So she's still shuffling her feet as fast as humanly possible, but not actually gaining any traction, not going anywhere, and still. And she like all the way through the living room, got to the hallway, and my aunt and my uncle, they look at each other and they're like, she didn't make it. I mean, you could have said she didn't make it when the started, but it went on for quite a while with the. And that's when you say she didn't make it? Where were you for the last minute and a half? Actually, while we were still in that house, the other aunt, she's kind of like loud and boisterous. She loves to tell stories and be the center of attention and what have you. But something that kind of runs, I guess, rampant in my family is, not looking out for yourself in any kind of way. Like I do it, I'll like step into danger for someone else. Be like, oh yeah, I know you're gonna hurt me, but I'm gonna help you anyway. Like that's how I do it. But a lot of my family just like, oh, I'm in danger, not gonna do anything about it. So this one time, the aunt who can actually take care of herself, we were going out somewhere in the old house, and we like to do this thing where we would close the garage door and run out before it closed because we're cool and all that. Yeah, that was fun for us kids. It's kind of dangerous, I guess. Not I guess, it is. It has the sign on it. You know how garage doors have that sign that's like, oh, no, danger, you will get hit and it will hurt and all that jazz. Like, oh, no, danger, look out of the way. So this one time, we're leaving the house and my aunt closes the garage door from the outside, right? Close the garage door. She's standing under it. You know, like all those signs say, oh, don't stand under it when it's opening or closing, all that jazz. So she's standing under it. It comes down. It hits her in the head. Now, I know what you're thinking. It probably like squashed her and what have you. So we're all in the car. Or we're about to get into the car. She's the last one. The garage door hits her in the head, right? She doesn't move, per se. Her eyes get really wide as it's pressing down on her head. It wasn't a fast garage door. It was a shitty one. We had the shitty whatever. So it's really slow, but it's still applying pressure. So her eyes get wide as it's pressing down on her head. Her eyes get wide. She doesn't move. Still hasn't moved. It's been pressing down on her for about 5-10 seconds. Pushing down on her head. Her eyes get really wide, and she goes, ooh, but doesn't move. Just stays there under the garage door while it's pressing down. Ooh, and the rest of us are like, you gonna move? Like, no. So she just stands there while it's pressing on her head, going, ooh, as the garage door is pressing down until it stops and goes back up. And we're like, I don't understand why you didn't move. It's just a thing. So the aunt that can take care of herself, I'm gonna call her Ooh from now on. So Ooh moved in with us in this house, and she stayed in the guest bedroom for a while, and she was really sick. Like she was going for cancer treatment and all that. Not to be mean or anything, but it's weird how like she made fun of and insulted her sister for so long for not being able to take care of herself and all that jazz. And then she came here and she basically did the same thing, except in this case, I would get trapped in my room because Ooh would start shitting and then go in the hall, like it's my room, the guest bedroom, and then there's a little hallway and then the bathroom. And, I'd be trapped in Shitopia, as my friends would call it, because I'd be on the computer, be like, I have to go, I'm hungry, but I can't go to the kitchen right now. And they'll be like, why? Because I'm trapped in Shitopia. There's shit all over the hallway, and I don't want to clean it right this second. I don't want to clean up poop and then eat. if you can understand where I'm going, like that's like you don't do it in that order. It's not like, oh yeah, I wanna, mop up some poo and what have you, and then yeah, I'm gonna eat. No, that's not what's gonna happen. I'm just gonna be really hungry and really sad and upset. So it's funny to me that Ooh was so mean to her sister because her sister couldn't control herself, and then she's doing the same thing. So then you have my uncle. His mom was the one who didn't make it. So the two aunts from now on, they'll be Ooh, and they'll be didn't make it. So didn't make it. His mom, this uncle who's really my cousin, but whatever, I call him uncle anyway. He lived with us for a while after he got divorced, and like that made sense. Like he didn't have anywhere else to go. My mom was like, "Come in here with us, and your mother and her sister." My uncle was cool when he was living with us. My dog liked him. He helped out around the house. He did stuff. He helped us with computers and what have you. And he was just, fun to be around. Unlike his mother and sister all the time. Like my aunts, they're okay for a little while. Just don't sleep in my bed because then it smells and I can't sleep in it for a while. I also noticed, speaking of beds, it's weird, but when Ooh lived here in the guest bedroom next to me, she didn't like I understand the concept of it, but like because she was sick and she was making it smelly and what have you, but she would lift up the sheets every day and spray like an entire can of Febreze in them. I don't actually know if it was Febreze or not. It didn't smell like Febreze. I don't know. Whatever. Some fabric scented air freshener thing. She would spray it inside the sheets and then put them down. And she kept her door closed a lot. And a lot of the time when you open the door, like it would just be like, Hwah! And this huge, like noxious cloud of nasty bargain bin air freshener would hit you in the face. And like I sort of understand that she was trying to disinfect it, but there's like a level that you should stay at for like you just pick up the can and you shouldn't be like that's too much. It's just too much. And my cousin who stayed with us, he was also okay. He did a lot of stuff around the house. Like he redid our bathroom. He, did all the landscaping. He planted fucking trees in our yard. And my mom hated him because she was like, oh, he just lays about doing nothing all day. Like he has not had that much fun in life. I'm gonna put it that way. He got laid off. He gets like laid off all the time. He's the smartest guy I know. Give or take. He's pretty high up there. Like he went to Harvard. He's an architect, what have you. He knows so many things about so many other things. He like runs businesses and what have you, and he just gets the shit end of the stick all the time. And like he's fixing stuff up, but like he's really sad and depressed all the time. And obviously, by now, my mom doesn't really deal with sick and depressed. So she's just like insulting him, and she's so mad that he's staying there. And I'm like, he's doing all this work for you for free. And like he's keeping the house stocked. Like when we had both houses, like he was living in the old house and like he got everything ready and whatever, and it was great. And the only qualm I had with him at all was that as you're gonna learn later on, there's like no privacy in my immediate family. Like that's not a thing that happens ever. So like I'm used to just like walking in to my family's rooms and being like, hey, what up? And the only qualm I have with my cousin is that he's kind of large and he likes to lay about naked sometimes. So a couple times my mom would be like, get him for dinner. And I'd be like, okay. And I'd like walk towards his room and he'd have the door open and I'd be like, yo, Dale, you're naked again. And he'd be like lounging on the bed. Thank God he'd always have a pillow between his legs. Like, oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for small miracles. But yeah, that's the thing that happened. That was like my only qualm with him. And the last person I mentioned that lived with us was my grandpa. And like that's normal. That's normal. Like in a family, oh, your grandpa's old. gonna come live with you. Can't. I mean, he could take care of himself. It was just my mom was super scared. Um, and this one time, okay, so in my family, uh, uh, like my uncle and my grandpa are huge dudes. My dad is huge. We like to make jokes that he's having twins all the time because it really does look like he's pregnant. He slimmed down a little bit. So has my uncle, and my grandpa slimmed down a lot right before he died. Um, Probably because he was sick, but he was also eating better and what have you. So they both had really big bellies. They're not the fastest people alive. They're also loud, and like my grandpa and his son, my uncle, they fucking hated each other. They're just always arguing about nothing. Well, pretty much my uncle argues with everybody, um, but especially my mom and his dad. So they're always arguing and whatever. And this one time, well, my uncle came to visit. He was probably fighting with my grandpa or whatever when they were living in our old house. And they got locked out. I don't know why they went outside. I don't know what they were doing, but they got locked out. And instead of being normal human beings, because this is a theme in my family, we don't do things the normal way. We generally think outside of the box. Instead of being normal human beings, this is what they do. Okay, so we had like a screened-in porch at our old house. What they decide the best course of action is not to like call up a neighbor or be like, hey, can you, call my mom, or can you call someone else who might have a key, like one of my sisters or whatever? No, their idea is that they're going to break back into the house. Okay, so these two fat, bumbling men who are probably screaming their heads off at one another somehow find a way. Now, when I say we had a screened-in porch, like it was up. Like to get into my house, where the first floor was, you had to walk upstairs. So to come in the front door, you had to walk upstairs. There's no stairs by the screen-in porch. It's just like on supports. So it's technically like, it's probably where the second floor would be in like this house. So it's not on the ground. So for them to be able to get into it, somebody had left a stool or a stepladder outside, and they get up on the stepladder, but it's still not tall enough. So apparently, my grandpa, I'm gonna assume that it was my grandpa, somehow managed to lift his morbidly obese son up towards the window of, like the screen. So at that point, I'm pretty sure my uncle pulled out a pocket knife, cut the screen open, somehow my grandpa threw this fat man into the now cut open screen. So he falls over, rolls into the porch. Now, to get into the house from the screened-in porch, there's a glass door. Like a door, like a regular frame, but it has like glass and like the 9 segments. And it's also locked. And instead of, again, being like, oh, shit, we're inside now. I can't get through the door. Maybe I should, call somebody. Somebody can come help. No. Instead of that, my uncle decides I don't know what he did. He, like, wrapped his hand in something and punched through the glass window, unlocks the door, and gets inside. Now, mind you, I'm relatively certain this was quite an ordeal, so I'm sure it took a while. I'm sure they were screaming. Nobody in the neighborhood, not a single person, cared that these 2 bumbling fat men were breaking into my house. Like, nobody in the neighborhood even noticed. How? I'm sure they were screaming the entire time. I'm sure they were yelling. I'm definitely sure it's hard to miss one fat man on a step stool throwing another fat man into a window. Like, I'm just gonna put that out there. My neighbors were dicks. Now, having told you all of this about my family and of all the people who have lived here, I've had people come stay for quite a while, but that's different. That's like international students, like they're on break or whatever, and they come stay here. So, having heard all of that, I don't know if anybody else does this, but one of my greatest pleasures in life, one of my absolute greatest pleasures in life, is just to run up and down the stairs in this house. Just run up and down the stairs, screaming, ah! Not for any particular reason, just that I have the house to myself. I'm alone. It's a wonderful feeling. It's a wonderful feeling. Wonderful feeling. It's just a wonderful feeling. It's like my greatest pleasure. When everyone's gone, I just run up and down the stairs a whole bunch of. That's probably how I get my cardio. Actually, maybe that's why I stay so skinny. Can't really tell because I'm wearing a hoodie. But maybe that's why I stay so skinny. Yep. Just whenever anyone's gone, I just run up and down the stairs screaming, "Ah! I'm alone!" So yeah.
Hey there, guys and gals. Thanks again for watching, as always. If you click the link on the left on this page, you'll be taken to the previous episode. If you click the link on the right, you'll be taken to the playlist. And for next time, why don't we take a little look at my family's wonderful problem-solving skills?